Well. Week 11 has the afternoon action has concluded, and there's a lot of little tidbits to pick out of this playoff picture. Sunday Scaries with Bucks McGee right here on to my side, and we're gonna break down all this aftermath. Sir, how was your Sunday?
It's another Sunday. Good times. It's the NFL. Can't
Sunday.
can't can't get any better than this. Yeah, there's right now the playoff picture is slowly coming into focus. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see how these teams are kind of fitting in with the injuries and stuff that are going on. It's kind of a mess, but kind of not. So I'm excited.
Yeah, so we'll kick it off by uh, talking about something we talked at great length in the pregame show, as well as off air regarding the fallout from the Thursday nighter where Joe Burrow got hurt, Mark Andrews got hurt. Both are out for the season now. So figure, okay, who's
Hmm.
the real favorite now in Cleveland? And on top of that, Deshaun Watson was ruled out for the season earlier in the week. So we're thinking, okay, Pittsburgh's probably kind of the sneaky dark horse here to take this division. And sure enough, Cleveland they Pittsburgh's starting to come back down to that Mike Tomlin 500 moniker that you slapped on him. Uh,
9-8, baby. Pittsburgh all the way. Terrible 9-8s. Go
keep
for
the
it.
streak alive.
The greatest mediocre team in NFL history. Here we go, folks.
So I did catch the end of this game, and I was pretty impressed by Dorian Thompson Robinson's drive to set up that field goal. Young QB who has absolutely no expectation on him, and he looked awful in his first start in lieu of Deshaun Watson. I think that was the game where Watson woke up the morning of and decided he didn't want to play.
Yeah, he had a hangnail or something, the Deshaun Watson injury report.
Yeah, but clearly with some actual time to prep for a game, the kid's not that bad.
No, he did what he's supposed to do. They probably scripted him plays and said, this is what you're comfortable with. Let's run it. And he did what he's supposed to do. When you get put into action, you got to perform. That's what the league's about. And it was a big game. Now the Steelers are looking kind of rough. Cleveland's going to be a team that wins ugly. Let's be realistic. They're not going to put up 30, 40 points. They're not going to be a prolific offense. They're going to find ways to win. They're going to do the smart things. And with that defense, anything's possible now with this team.
Yeah, and so that, of course, now there's a video that you shared with me a little while ago that's making its rounds around the internet, and or it's going to make its rounds around the internet, if I could speak. And
Mm-hmm.
that's Najee Harris looking a bit. I'll keep it polite and say disconnected from this team.
Yeah, I think right now it looks like the Najee time in Pittsburgh may be coming to an end. A reporter asked him, does he think that other teams kind of know what they're playing, certain calls and such? And Najee pretty much said, yeah.
Mm.
He was like, yeah, there was the, yeah,
There's
you
some
know,
stuff going around. I'm
yeah.
tired of this shit, man.
Yeah, when you sit there and say there's stuff going around and you're tired of the shit, yeah. And with Tomlin, he's not going to put up with that. So it wouldn't surprise me if Najee's either inactive or running back 3 next week. Najee just, for some reason, the last year and a half just hasn't seemed to fit there. I don't know what's going on. But from this video, it just seems like there's probably more than what we know. So it
And,
looks like Warren's going to be the guy.
yeah, and speaking of that, it doesn't look great on the heels of this game because throughout the season to this point, Warren and Harris have been very much platooning
Mm-hmm.
carries, but Warren blew up in this game.
Yeah, it looked like every game Warren was in, it looked like he was like one run or one catch away from really breaking it out. So no, I think he's the guy. I think he fits that offense better. Najee, it's probably time to move on.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to say this kind of stuff, you're probably not putting in the effort, not putting in the work. And in this division, they can't lose. They've got to win. They almost have to win out. Anyone in the AFC's got to win out the way things are going now. So Ward is probably going to get the lion's share of the carries. and Najee will fit in whenever.
Yeah, let's talk division before we talk wild card. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously Baltimore's still in the driver's seat here, and outside of some freak karma hitting Lamar like has hit every other quarterback in this division
Hey,
seemingly.
cut this out, man, because we're jinxes. All right, we're straight up jinxes.
Maybe I'm reverse jinxing it. You don't know.
Yeah, okay. Burrow's out. Freaking, we got Deshaun Watson's out. Like, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. So, barring something cataclysmic like that, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously Mark Andrews is his security blanket, so that's significant. But
Mm-hmm.
Lamar's still there. Lamar has been playing well, even in the game on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do you think they have to worry about Cleveland if DTR is going to play as well as he did on Sunday? And of course that defense because they are the number one in the league.
Yeah. I would be scared of Cleveland because right now, I don't want to say nobody believes in them, but they're sitting. No one believed in Deshaun, anyways. Let me just say it. So, like, let's be real. I think everyone's was waiting for that Deshaun game to happen, so it was going
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh, here are the Browns, offense and defense, and now it's Browns defense and whatever they can muster on offense. But
Yeah.
no, a team like that you've got to be careful of because they're playing and they have no fear. And if Lamar can't handle that offense without Mark Andrews, because Mark Andrews is vital for Lamar. He's that safety blanket, like you said. So at that point, if Lamar starts having to scramble a little more, if the run game starts to put out, Cleveland could be that team that surprises and says, okay, we're here and pick up a couple wins, and Baltimore could be looking up.
Yeah, and speaking of looking up, so let's dish on the wild card picture because going into this game, Cleveland and Pittsburgh were kind of neck and neck. They were kind of more or less leading the wild card picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this one, Cleveland is firmly in front, and Pittsburgh falls back to barely holding on to that 7 spot. And behind them now are a half game. Buffalo's a half game back. Indy's 5-5 right there. Cincinnati's 5-5 right there. Vegas lost today. We'll get into that more in a few minutes. But they're 5-6, so they're still kind of in it. And Denver, of course, getting ready to kick off shortly.
Mm-hmm.
That they're if they could pull off a win against Minnesota, they're right in the mix as well. So
Mm-hmm.
they're right there too. So like, how does this loss look versus the other competition that's nipping at Pittsburgh's heels?
Basically, everyone who's in the hunt just needs to win out. Like, let's just be realistic as much as possible because the AFC is unbelievable. There's probably going to be a 10-win team or two that don't make it. So right now, Cleveland's in a good spot, but they can't sit back. They've got to put their foot down on the gas and just they got to perform. Steelers, that offense is still anemic. Honestly, with who they have on that offense, they should put up 20 plus points a game, and they're not doing that. Their defense is only going to be able to bail them out so long. Buffalo, fraudulent as
Yes.
always. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. They beat up on the Jets today. Whoop-de-doo. No one cares. That's something you should have done regardless. So they've got a daunting schedule coming up. Their schedule, I believe, is the third ranked hardest in the league. Like next week they got Philly. Do I think they're beating Philly? No. No, I don't. So these teams that are in the hunt, they've got to win because any of these division leaders could slip. You have to sit there and really look at those divisions and say, will those leaders slip enough where someone could overtake? Jacksonville's one. They've got a lead of a game. They go on a 2 or 3 game bender, then Houston's right there.
Yeah.
Indy's there, so it's interesting. Like nothing is sewn up right now, but these guys in the hunt could slip in.
Yeah. So let's kick it over to NFC real quick. Everyone obviously expected Detroit to take care of Chicago to Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
but they got off to a bit of a slow start, but fortunately, thanks to a fourth quarter explosion, they outscored Chicago 70-6. Detroit prevails as they should. was there anything out of this game that makes you think, okay, maybe there's some flaws in Detroit? Maybe we're getting a little too high on the Lions.
No, division game. We always talk about division games. Not every game you're going to win by 14, 15 points. Like, it's the NFL. Anything can happen any given Sunday. Detroit took Chicago's best shot. And they won. Fields came back. Fields played great. Coming back from the thumb injury. They put us. I think a little bit of a scare into Detroit. But Detroit, if this was Detroit of last year, they may have lost this game. I think Detroit has made that turn now where they win the games they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
I think you can safely say that at 8-2 now, they win the games they're supposed to. So no, there wasn't anything in here that was entertaining, but Detroit handled business, and now they just keep on going.
Yeah, they're shaping up like they can really stay on Philly's heels. For the long haul, the rest of the season.
No, definitely.
They then Jameson Williams actually found the end zone, which it would have been nice if he did that last week when I picked him up on my fantasy team and I needed him to score.
Fantasy's an evil beast, man. You know how this goes.
The curse that it is. Oh, yeah. I mean, but there's not too much to tie up on that. We don't expect anything from Chicago. Detroit prevailed, but they had to show a little mettle. And like we always say, sometimes the ugly win is a good one.
Basically, if you're talking about Chicago, this is basically Justin Fields' audition. Let's be realistic. Because the big question is if Chicago ends up with one of the first 2 picks in the draft, are they going quarterback? Yeah. Are they going to get rid of Justin Fields? There's more intrigue with that than what's going on the field. Let's be honest.
Yeah, which looks pretty good because not only are they not that great this year, they also have Carolina's pick.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say it all goes in tanks and they end up with 1 and 2. Like, do they really want Justin Fields? I don't know, because this, regime kind of inherited Justin. We don't know if he wants him. I think he has talent. I think in the right system with the right coach, he can be great. I don't think Chicago's the place for him. I think he just needs to play well, get healthy, and then, they move on. He should just ask, trade me. You don't want me. Let's move on.
Yeah. We're going to stay in NFC North, but we'll split in NFC AFC for the next topic because the Packers played the Chargers, and obviously we can't trust the Chargers, but we figured they should take care of the Packers. They've been very inconsistent. Not so fast, my friend.
This is ridiculous. The Chargers, they're fraudulent too. They have moved into the fraudulent penthouse right next to Buffalo. Ridiculous. How in the heck, with all of that talent that you're telling me, Jordan Love and the wounded Packers, because let's be honest, Aaron Jones was out for he got hurt, so he was out for most of the game. I believe a couple guys on the defensive side got hurt. Come on. No. This is horrible. Horrible. Now, mind you, Bosa got hurt, but still, there's enough talent on both sides of that ball. There's no way. Eckler coughs up the ball in the red zone. Now, mind you, of course, they get jinxed because you know how announcers do. They'll make that statement about, like they'll do with kickers. Kicker, he hasn't missed from 50 in 4 seasons. Shanks 3 of them in a game, right? So they talk about how, they have the best, red zone percentage. They don't fumble. They don't do anything. Eckler coughs up the ball. I'm like, this is a hot mess. And there you go. Yeah. The Chargers just need to gut the thing and move on. Get rid of your head coach. They need somebody different. That I think you lose to the Packers, it's a mess.
Well, that's an interesting point because I caught a bit of his post-game presser on Sirius, and he was getting a bit testy with the reporters. They were questioning whether he was going to have someone else start calling defensive plays, and I guess I got the feeling like it wasn't the first time he was asked that because he was like, no, stop asking me. This is the last time I'm going to answer this question. I'm calling the plays, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, I take responsibility. It falls on me, but this was a team loss. This wasn't on any one unit in particular. So now I'm close thinking with him starting to outwardly show the heat that they kind of rightfully deserve. Was this loss kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back? And we're gonna wait. We're gonna kind of wake up Monday afternoon, I guess, because it's West Coast time. Around lunchtime, we'll get a nice little blurb on our phone that says Brandon Staley fired.
I would hope so because I'm just tired of this. Because I like the Chargers. I think they're a fun team. I think they have a ton of talent. I like Herbert. I think he's great. I like Eckler. I think they've got talent all around. It all depends on what the ownership feels. If they're like, you know what, let's pack it in this year. Let's just fire them. We're going to start our head coaching search. Let's just end it. If you think you can't bounce back from 4-6, then go ahead and fire them. But if you're holding on hope that you're going to go on like a 5-game run or something like that and somehow pull out a wild card, then you stick with the guy. But you need to really sit there and say, if we don't make the playoffs, we fire him. That's what it should be. At this point, it's playoffs or bust. And even if they barely make it in the playoffs, it's one of those things where they lose and they somehow make it in. I hate when that happens. Like you can lose and still get in.
Back it in.
Yeah, you back in. Hey, if you make the playoffs, you make the playoffs. But back in, it's kind of sad. But regardless, then they, if they're a one and done in the playoffs, you still fire him. I don't think he's the coach for this team. I really don't.
Especially if they have a less than enthused playoff effort.
Yeah, especially after last year. So this is it for him. I really think it is. We haven't heard anything or any mumbles, but I think if they lose next week, yep, I think the seat's on fire, man.
Well,
that's it.
Next week's rough because they're hosting the Ravens on Sunday night.
Ooh, wait. All right, so the line's gonna be like 8, 9, maybe.
Yeah.
So they're home. So
right now it's opening at 4, according to ESPN. Right now it's opening at 4, so it might tick up tomorrow. It might tick up Monday.
Better. No, it better because that's going to be ugly because you can't trust this team at all. You cannot trust the Chargers at all.
Yeah, and after that, they get a little bit of a break after that because they get the Patriots, they get Denver, they get Vegas, and they get the ultimate fraudulent bowl 2 days before Christmas against the Bills.
Oh, we get to find out who puts their name on the lease of the fraudulent penthouse.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you. So is that Patriots game home or away?
Away.
So let's say they go to Foxborough, my former haunt, and
yes,
had some good times there. And let's say they lose. Let's say they lose Monday. Would you fire that coach? Let's say you own the Chargers.
If he's lasted to that point and they lose to the Patriots, he has to go. Losing to the Patriots right now is somehow worse than losing to this Packers team. This Packers team that is so inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of Jordan Love on a play-to-play basis, let alone a game-to-game basis. If you lose to New England and he hasn't been fired yet, he needs to go because that is not just from a record standpoint, but from like just an overall the way the teams play. Because you look at New England's season, like, okay, you kind of got to look at it with a handicap because Mac Jones is bad, or at least bad in this system. Green Bay's struggles are kind of worse because they're all over the map and they still got a ton of talent. New England has next to no talent other than defensively. So they losing to New England is definitely worse than losing to Green Bay.
I may have to dust off that old blue Brady 12.
Is that your way to reverse the jinx?
I want the man gone. It's not even my team, and I want the guy gone. I just feel for Charger fans because there's all that talent, and it's just going to waste. So I'm hoping for So a couple weeks, Patriots upset. Put it on the books.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh my god.
I would laugh. I'm watching that game with bated anticipation.
Well, speaking of, we'll kick it. We'll stay in the AFC East. Miami Dolphins. They hosted the Raiders today. Raiders have been hot of late since kicking out Joshy, and they won, but they kind of barely hung on here. And Vegas is still playing hard. I mean, the fact that they held the Dolphins to 20 points is almost a moral victory in of itself.
Yeah, true.
You're still kind of in the playoff picture. You're at the back end of it, but you're still kind of hanging around. HN barely played at all. He, I don't know how
No.
many touches he had, but he certainly didn't have much of an output.
And then they thought he tweaked his knee a little bit, so they pulled him out of the game for
Of course.
just precautionary reasons. That's why I said I wouldn't really have played him. I don't think he really needed to play. I think you had enough talent on there that you could have beaten the Raiders without him. Tyreek tweaked his hand a little bit, so there were some bumps and bruises. Yeah, that second half was, it's like they just couldn't put any offense together. It was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you held on and won, but you know what? The Raiders are playing as if nobody believes in them, and it's like they're playing like a wounded animal. Those are the teams you watch out for because no one cares and you have nothing to lose. So they've got the rookie, quarterback. You're looking to see what you've got. Pierce is there. He possibly could end up being the coach there. He's auditioning as well. Their defense was played well. Like you said, you hold Miami to 20 points. That's good. So, unfortunately, there are no moral victories really in the NFL. But overall, Raiders played well. You can't complain. There have been some reports that the Jets are going to go hard for Devontae Adams in the offseason. So, depending on what the Raiders feel this team's going to be in the future, Adams possibly could be gone next year. So this could be just playing through the motions for them. But they play hard, so I give them credit. But Miami's got to tune some stuff up, and if Achane can't stay healthy, you got to keep him on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe a more seasoned quarterback, if Aiden O'Connell even had some more starts under his belt, they could have scored enough points to win this game.
Definitely. Joe Flacco. He was visiting Cleveland. Bring him in. You know who? Phillip Rivers. He just had his 10th kid, but you know what? He's got nothing going on. His wife can handle that. Just bring him in.
He's finally fathered enough children to field his own football team, his own starting offense.
Got an O-line and a D-line. He'll quarterback. He'll just need a running back. Najee Harris could need a job soon. So there you go.
Yeah, we'll just wait for the Super Bowl between Phillip Rivers' offspring and Antonio Cromartie's offspring.
I would pay for that. If that was on pay-per-view, I would pay to watch that. I would. I won't lie. I'd watch that. But
got him.
Oh, yes. I would pay for that. But, they're, like I said, Raiders played well, played hard. They're trying to figure out their season. There's, like you said, they're in the back of the room and in the hunt room. They got in somehow. They knew somebody. And they got in, so they're hanging around. Their schedule may not be that daunting. So if they can hang out the last couple of weeks of the season, could surprise somebody.
In the immortal words of Rasheed Wallace, both teams played hard. Both teams played hard. We'll flip flop the next two games just to keep it in the division because this lovely game between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Football Jets. And I guess the leash ran out for the MILF Hunter.
Yeah, it was about a couple minutes left in the third quarter, and my boy Tim Boyle came on in. Tim Boyle. And proceeded to stink it up even more. Poor guy. Like, seriously, if you're a Jets quarterback, do you wake up in the morning and go, God, I got to go to work? Like, us regular folk who get up, go to work and stuff, we're like, it's Monday. All right, whatever. If you're a Jets quarterback, are you like, shit, here we go again? Yeah. And, everyone is going to be like, wow, Buffalo looked dominant, blah, blah, blah. They beat the Jets. Their Jets are horrible. Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh didn't cough up the ball 3 times and, all that other stuff that went on for the, last 5-6 games. So now all of a sudden, everything is right in Buffalo. No.
It's like that Chris Rock skit. You did what you were supposed to do. What you want, a cookie?
Exactly. Like they did what they were supposed to do. The guy who lost his job, Ken Dorsey, who lost his job for no reason, was probably sitting at home going, I hope you fumble. I hope you fumble.
He's got a Josh Allen voodoo doll.
He's like, Sean McDermott. Yeah. So they did what they were supposed to do. You played the MILF Hunter. The MILF Hunter's, it's like he reverted back to early in the season. Rasul Douglas there from who they got from the Packers had 3 turnovers. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble. Really? Like, come on, man. So Josh just stunk it up. I guess, they just finally decided, they said, you know what, we got to bench you. Saleh said, I can't stick my neck out for you anymore. This is ridiculous. And so now we're going to find out what this team is.
It's like, and Aaron's still, if there's any hope Aaron comes back, he's not coming back next week. So he's not coming back for Black Friday. So like, what are they going to do? Because they got Miami on deck in this Amazon Black Friday game.
Like, really? The Amazon Black Friday game? Sounds like a bowl. The Amazon Black Friday Bowl. Like, really? Like, Amazon has been crapped on the last 2 years with games. And even the decent games they get, something goes wrong. Hence last week. Hence Thursday.
Burrow.
Franchise quarterbacks go down. If I'm a franchise quarterback, if I'm one of the big quarterbacks, I'm like, I don't want to play on Thursday night on Amazon.
Thursday night.
I'm pulling a Deshaun Watson. I got a hangnail. I can't make it. Man. Nah, man. Stub my toe in the shower. Can't step. I'm limping and gimping. I'm planning it. So no. Oh Lord. So now Aaron is going to look at this and say, I'm not coming back for Christmas. Y'all can keep this crap. Because what is Tim Boyle is he gonna play now? Is he gonna be your starter for the next 3 to 4 weeks till Aaron comes on his unicorn and you guys are like 4-10?
Well, right, especially like, okay, they lose this game 4-6. Let's be realistic. They're probably gonna lose to Miami 4-7. What's the point to bringing him back?
There is none. I think Aaron wanted to be the good guy and say, you know what, you guys can do it. Well, as long as you guys can stay 500, I'll come back and save the team. Yeah, well, I'm not coming back for this.
No. I'm gonna get hurt again behind this line.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you guys did nothing to fix this O-line at all, and you want me to come back after my, repaired ACL? No, I'm good. I'll see you guys at OTAs or whatever. I'm good. I'm going to go back in my dark room. I'll come back out and see you. No, I'm not doing that. It's ridiculous. The Jets need to look at it and say, you know what? It is what it is. Let's play the young guys and move on, because you're not going to put Zach back out there because it's going to be a bad look. It's a bad look because everybody knows he should have been sitting a long time ago.
Right. Yeah.
So now,
that's the type of personnel move that once you do it, you cannot turn around.
The biggest mistake was you didn't get somebody at trade deadline. If you could have gotten someone who would have been decent to keep you at 500, who had no expectations of starting after Aaron came back, you would have been good. Josh Dobbs.
Exactly. You're telling me it wouldn't have taken more than a 6-round pick to get Josh Dobbs?
Josh Dobbs. Because maybe at that point, if Dobbs is playing like he is now, maybe Aaron's like, you know what? I'll take my time. Maybe I don't, you know what? I'll come back a little later than that. I'll come in, slide in for the playoffs. Dobbs is like, all right, I've put out some good film. Someone's gonna want me.
Yeah. Right.
Nope. So there you go, Jets fans. I'm sorry, but that's what you're sitting on. Tim Doyle next week. Get your jerseys. I don't even know what number he is. I might have to get one. Just to do it. This poor man. I feel bad for him. But yes, the fraudulent Bills won. Hooray, hurrah. Go break some tables. But don't worry, you're sharing the penthouse with the Chargers.
Yeah, for me with the Bills, this game, you almost just have to like, all right, guys, we won. The roof's not completely collapsing in yet, at least on the season. But let's not hang our hats on this, because let's realize who we played and who we beat.
Yeah. Okay, I feel good waking up tomorrow, but this was the team I was supposed to beat. So whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever. Buffalo. It just irritates me because it's Buffalo's great. And Tony Romo on the freaking broadcast is like, they still could win the Super Bowl. Man, they're gonna have to buy some tickets. They're not getting there any other way. Tony Romo. They're still my pick to make the Super Bowl. Okay, Tony. Okay, yeah, they're gonna go like a 7-win tear, right? Okay, Tony.
Hold a wild card position before you start saying that.
Jim Nance is rolling his eyes, going, "Why am I still here? Why am I still here?"
Last AFC game before we talk a little bit of NFC. Mm-hmm. The Texans won today. Won Sunday. They were certainly expected to.
Mm-hmm.
against Arizona. Now Arizona came off like gangbusters. Kyler threw this huge touchdown to start off the game, but it fizzled out quickly. Houston took control of it. Defense played well. They are only a game. Have a firm hold on a wild card spot, but they are also only a game back of Jacksonville, who also won today. Speaking of taking care of business, they blew the doors off Tennessee. So Houston now is only a game back of Jacksonville, and like this Texas team just keeps looking better with every week.
They're a legit team. Like, let's just be honest. They are a legit team. They are solid in all three phases. They play well. CJ Stroud should, no doubt, is rookie of the year. There's no reason to talk about anybody else. He plays like he's been in the league already 4 or 5 years. D'Amico Ryans has this team focused. I believe he's totally drenched them in the 49ers culture. He's brought that over with them. Yeah. This team's legit and dangerous. This team, I think, can beat almost anybody.
And CJ, rookie of the year, right now, I think you'd have to give D'Amico Ryans coach of the year.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. I don't think there's any. Yeah, there's no doubt. He's turned this team around, the culture around, and they're going to be a tough out. They are going to be a tough out. They rarely make mistakes. And they just play solid ball. So they get into the playoffs. I wouldn't want to touch them.
Yeah, the only other contender off the top of my head that I could think of that could give D'Amico a run for his money is Stefanski. Having to deal with this revolving door of quarterbacks in Cleveland still at the top of the list.
True. I would give him. He'd be a close second. He would be a close second. I think D'Amico just walking in just does it for me.
For a team with nothing, a rookie quarterback and nothing,
no expectation whatsoever. And you're looking at them, and then you're looking at Carolina, and then you're like, okay, guess the Panthers made the wrong pick.
Although part of me almost does wonder, like, what if there's any kind of caveat to Carolina, could anyone be successful behind that line?
In looking at both these guys play, I think Stroud is I just think he computes things better behind.
Yeah.
When he's behind the line, I just think he just plays more mature. He just seems like he plays more mature.
Yeah, him behind a bad line, he'd probably be more like Andrew Luck.
Yeah. Where
he still put up numbers, but he'll just get the average snot beat out of him.
Yeah, exactly. He'll put up the numbers, but he'll like limp out every week going, here we go again. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
But give Houston credit, man. They are legit, and the AFC, I'm sure, is watching this team.
Yeah, and I mean, they could be in a situation where they could get a favorable matchup for the first round because you're looking at Kansas City, Jacksonville, Baltimore, and who am I missing?
Miami.
Miami's in first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Miami, who can't beat a good team, Kansas City, who doesn't have anyone to throw to behind Travis, Taylor's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, who's probably the least holes of the four, but still has a lot of memory gaps.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, and then Baltimore, which is an injury bubble waiting to burst.
Their defense is great, but their offense right now is solid. But we're going to see it morph again without Andrew. So they could end up getting a favorable matchup and just catching one of these teams on a bad day.
Imagine Houston Texans of the playoff one. A year where you saw them in person.
AFC champion, Houston Texans. I can say I was there. I saw the maturation. I was there for a game. I saw it.
Yes.
I saw it. I was there. I lived it. I was part of the ass whooping, so I was there.
That's right. I was there. Well, unfortunately, the Bucks took it on the chin again this weekend. We'll flip it over to NFC real quick. We spoke of this off air because why we decided not to really touch on this in the pregame show. So that nothing really surprised us today. San Francisco took care of business in a kind of big way. And now the Bucks fall to 11th in the wild card picture. And they're still only a game back of the division, but that margin for error gets increasingly smaller. because the
Mm-hmm.
wild card is right now. The wild cards are looking outside of an absolute implosion by the likes of Seattle or Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those wild cards look kind of out of touch, not out of touch, out of reach, and your only route into the playoffs is to get by Atlanta and New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Um, the game was closer than the score indicated. Now, mind you, yeah, I had picked the Niners to win this game. Of course, a fool wouldn't. But if you really watch that game, the Niners defense, even though they got to Baker, Baker was great on third and fourth downs. The Bucks are the best team in the NFL when it comes to fourth down conversions. They're 6 of 9. They convert on fourth down. Baker was converting third and tens, third and 12s on this defense. Now there were some catches that should have been made that weren't. They got to Baker. All the credit to the Niners, but that Niners defense, if you can hold that D line up, you can pass. You can complete some passes on them. So if you minus a couple quick strikes, the Bucks are in this game. They were only down 10-7, 13-7 at the half.
Right.
So I can't take anything. I'm not going to take anything away from the Niners, but it wasn't like the Bucks just put up these points on their second teamers. So, so at the end of the day, everyone knows what the Bucks are, and yeah, they probably have to win the division to get into playoffs. Total fact. But the Niners, they had some injuries today, on their defense. So that's going to be some stuff to watch in the next couple days, see how that pans out. But if you let the Bucks go up and down the field on you, there's some things you got to tighten up, and especially with Philly, Dallas, the Lions, these quick scoring offenses. It's going to be interesting to see. But all credit to the Niners, they handled business, but it wasn't as dominant a performance as the score would lead you to believe.
Based on what you've seen from this team now sitting at 4-6, is your confidence holding or wavering that they can beat out Atlanta and New Orleans?
No, I think they can. No, let's look at New Orleans. Let's be realistic. New Orleans isn't that great. Like, really, for everyone who in the preseason was like, "Oh, New Orleans, they got Carr, so now that's the missing piece." They're not that good. Like, if you watch those games, the Saints aren't good. Their defense is solid, but it's on the tail end. Those guys are getting long in the tooth. Let's be realistic. Cam Jordan's only got a couple years left. Lattimore's banged up. You have the Honey Badger running around, but how much longer can he do that? So let's be real. They're still holding on to glories of the Drew Brees days. And when you hear those guys talk in New Orleans, that's what it sounds like. They think they're better than they are. Like, I understand the confidence, but let's be realistic. You're not as good as you are. The Falcons, they don't know what to do with talent. That franchise is a hot mess. Bijan is just, I don't know when they use him, if they use him. Kyle Pitts, the tight end unicorn, doesn't get thrown to. Quarterback situation's in a rough spot. So, no, there's a situation where if Bucks play smart, they could end up winning the division. The division's up for grabs. There's still a lot of football left. So, no, I'm not wavering at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, especially with those teams not being on very solid footing. The other NFC game to touch on is the Seattle Seahawks, which have been a good team this year. It absolutely is a bit perplexing to me that they have been swept by the Los Angeles Rams now.
So does that mean you're a good team?
That's right.
like, let's be real. Like, there's talent on that team. Is it a situation where you're winning at the right time, but like the Rams come in here with their hodgepodge of talent, their one-armed quarterback, and they sweep you? They're like the Steelers of the NFC.
Yeah.
They got a solid defense. Their offense is better than the Steelers, but it's like they put up points, and then you're like, okay, we'll do it against somebody else. But then the Rams come in and you shot the bed.
And ironically enough, both 6-4.
Yeah, see, and I think Gino got hurt today, so I think he left the game.
Ah,
I'm not sure. I'm not
I
sure if he
heard.
played.
Yeah, I heard Drew Lock got some snaps in there.
Former Denver great Drew Lock. Now he's gonna lead Seattle to the promised land. Yep, fold that season up. There you go. That was a good one. Yay, Seattle.
It's almost like, what would you rather have, Drew Lock or Tim Boyle or the Milf Hunter?
All right, there, sir. Your life depends on it. One game to win. Who are you picking? The Milf Hunter, Boyle, or Locke? You got to ride him for the whole game.
You know what? I might go Drew Lock only because he's still somewhat of an unknown. Where like if I'm gonna lay my life and career on the line, at least give me a shot of a maybe shot of hope as opposed to a definite shot of despair.
That's true because if you really look at all three of them, Locke is like the guy who's like he's like that quarterback in the movie who doesn't get a shot, but then all of a sudden the starter goes down and he comes in and wins it for the team and becomes
Johnny
the hero.
Moxley.
Boyle is like the neighborhood dad who plays in the rec league, who lives these hopes and dreams of what he used to be and just can't do it anymore. It just looks bad.
Running out the headband.
and then the MILF Hunter is just he's like good and thinks he's gonna make it to college, but he won't because he gets caught for like PEDs or something, a gambling ring, and just ends up owning a freaking hardware store or something in town. That's what that is. So yeah, I guess I would go with Locke too.
He's Zach Wilson as Boobie Miles without the injuries.
None of them are Shane Falco, so I'm not taking any of them.
No. Yeah, we can't disrespect the Falco like that. Yeah, I honestly, Drew Lock is someone that is. He just reminds me of like he got caught up from dating a supermodel girlfriend and not taking football seriously, and then wound up buried on the bench.
And he was like, and they were like, this is your last chance. If you can't do this, then you're out of the league for good. So there's the training montage. It's like lifting weights, throwing footballs through tires, and he somehow wins the big game. There's Drew Lock for you, folks. There you go.
Now you compare this to the Steelers,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually a nice topic because they're both 6-4. They're both in the they're both currently holding the last wild card spot, but Pittsburgh 6-4, as we already discussed, does not look as good as Seattle 6-4 because, as we kind of touched on, the NFC wildcards are more or less have a little bit more clarity to them.
But does Seattle 6-4 look good because they got swept by the Rams?
Oh no, it doesn't look good. It's just at least you have like a little keep something in your back pocket because it doesn't hurt you that much.
Right, but now with the Geno injury, let's say they go on a 3 or 4 game slide, right? Now let's take the Packers, right? Let's just, for instance, they're 4-6. Let's say they go on a bit of a run. The Packers could find themselves in a situation where, they could back themselves in maybe.
Yeah.
You know, the 4-6 teams, they're on watch now because they're on the outside, but if one of these teams in the hunt in the hunt room start to fall back, they can slide back in. They can give the guy the $20 and find themselves in the room. So it's interesting, but yeah, Seattle, they just Drew Lock, I guess, if this injury is legit and serious, he's gonna have to play real.
Yeah, and the other two thing to that is the 2 Rams losses hurt, obviously because it's psychological because it's the Rams. But at the same time, if they were anyone else, that's still 2 NFC losses.
Yeah.
And 2 NFC and that's your number one tiebreak with the wild card team. So that is a significant hit against Seattle if there is a tiebreak scenario.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. So Seattle is now okay. Well, we got swept by the Rams. Now we've got to look at things and say, okay, now we've got to win. We've got to go on a good 3 to 4 game tear, because if not, these teams that are in the room with us are going to pass us by, and I don't know what Drew Lock has in them. So it's going to be fun to see.
And speaking of these teams that are in the room with them, one of them has kicked off a little while ago, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. Although
Oh,
they are also in a firm wild card position based on the recent run they had leading up to and since the Cousins injury. So they play Denver tonight, and Denver has been a lot hotter. A lot hotter of late. Of course, they had the Monday night victory over the Bills, which, despite how bad the Bills play, they still probably should have lost that game. But thanks to
damn you, Ken Dorsey. It's your fault we lost. Right, Buffalo fans? Let them know. Ken Dorsey was the reason Denver beat us.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know it was Ken Dorsey's job to count special teamers on the field.
It's that fault. Ken Dorsey isn't supposed to fumble or throw interceptions either. Just saying.
So obviously this has implications for both teams because should Denver pull this out, they're 5-6. That's the same record as Vegas. That's a half game behind Indy and Cincinnati, and that's one full game behind the aforementioned Bills, who of course Denver now has the head-to-head tiebreaker over. So this is extremely critical for Denver, and it's critical for Minnesota, although they have a little bit in their back pocket over Seattle because obviously an AFC loss is not as critical as two NFC losses. And that's obviously they have more than two NFC losses. I'm just spitballing off these Rams games as a comparison. But so which team has more at stake in this game tonight?
I'd say probably Denver. I think Denver has pulled themselves out of the bottom there, out of the weekly joke pile that we'll use. Yeah, let's ride. I miss that. So, they've been playing well. I don't think they want to lose this momentum, and they have an opportunity to really make up some ground. Like the Raiders losing and the ever flip-flop of the AFC going on right now. So
I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
No, man. It's going to be a mess like the last 2 weeks of the season. I'm going to be like, I don't know nothing. I'm going to have a whiteboard up. And like on those movies where they draw the spider and they've got the yarn and they're trying to connect the dots. That's what it's going to be. And I'm going to be like, I have no idea. Just tell me 2 weeks from now who's in, and we'll go from there.
What comparison do you like more to that? Charlie from It's Always Sunny, Pepe Sylvia, or Steve Kornacki on election night playing on the electoral maps.
We've got 4,730 possible ways this could go down. Let me move this state here, there, and there. And I'm just like, dude, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. Kind of tell me what you think, because I can't follow this. Yeah, that's the one. Election night for sure. No doubt about it. But yeah, no, I think Denver needs the win, because then at that point they are firmly entrenched in the room, in the hunt room. They've paid their $20. They're getting a drink. They're like, here we are. They let us in. Because right now they're at the door and the guy's like, I don't know if I want your money. I don't know if you're dressed well enough. We got to kind of figure it out. I don't know. I let your girl in, but I don't know if I want to let you in.
That's right.
So
Sierra, she's okay.
Yeah, but your boy's shoes, I don't know. They look a little scuffed. So right now, Denver wins tonight. They're getting in the room. They're getting in the hunt room. They're in. So I think Denver really needs this win, and I think it just will also help them psychologically to say, you know what, we're legit. 6-4 team. We are good. We truly believe we're good. And at this point, in another week or two, they could be one of those teams where someone doesn't want to play them. It's been impressive to watch them grow from the hot mess that they were to where they are now. I'm impressed.
Yeah, and they. If there's truly a script, the script is definitely benefiting a Broncos win because that increases the chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Payton paid somebody off. It's just how it is.
Yeah, Denver loses, they're back to the Chargers and the Jets territory as opposed to everyone else that we've talked about a few times. And Minnesota wins, it doesn't really help them. A loss doesn't really hurt them, but a win doesn't really help them because they're not catching Minnesota. And obviously with Seattle's loss, they stay ahead of them anyway.
No, but I think it also keeps the momentum with Dobbs there and such. It
Right.
keeps it going. Plus, I think it helps because I think next week Jay Jettis is coming back. He was questionable for today, but I think next week he'll be good to go. So I think that'll also kind of help as well.
So exciting.
Could be good.
well, speaking of exciting, let's go watch this game and see if the Josh Dobbs show continues.
Either that or it's going to be all nighter. Let's ride.
Let's ride. Bucks McGee, final word for the live show. What was your favorite part about Sunday, week 11?
Let's see. I don't know. Like I look at the scores and I'm like, no. You know what? I'll say this. I'm happy. I'm happy for the Texans. You know, they're continuing to stay strong, play well. So I'd say the Texans' gutted win was good. The Cowboys I really don't care about because they beat the Panthers. Like no one cares.
I play Carolina.
Oh no! And honorable mention to Danny DeVito's illegitimate nephew, Tommy DeVito, there for the Giants. Don't know what's going on there in New York, but they're scrapping along. I'll give them credit. Give them credit. So Giants fans, congratulations. You whooped up on the Commanders. It is what it is. But overall, as always, Sundays can't go wrong. I love them. Nutmeg, sir. I'll see you soon.
That's right. Then don't forget, we go live tomorrow night after the Super Bowl rematch. All right, let's go watch some Josh Dobbs.
All right, Dobbs time.
Later, peeps.